Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a look at the Apple Watch Series 4, more specifically the Infograph dial. There's a lot of people that have said a lot of things about the Apple Watch Series 4, and I really like it. One of the things you need to know, of course, is it's a little bit bigger than the original. It's 44 millimeters tall, as opposed to, okay, it wants me to update there. 44 millimeters tall as opposed to 42 millimeters. What I want to do is discuss the Infograph dial because I think it's the most interesting dial that Apple has ever created for the Apple Watch. And one of the first things you'll notice is it's very circular. It's almost Apple saying, yes, a circular dial probably looks a little bit better than a non-circular dial. Obviously, the case is not circular, it's rectangular, but I think it's interesting that they married it with a circular dial. And it actually works really well the way they designed it, because the inner circular dial would leave open space on the corners, and what they were able to do with that space is add elements, but curve them so that they match the look of the watch. What's been said a lot about this dial, which I agree with, is that this is the first time that Apple is really inventing a kind of new dial, in the sense that they are taking what traditional watches were really good at and doing it in a smartwatch way. And I definitely agree that they do that. Complications on a watch dial are the things that the functions it does. Time is a complication, but everything like date would be a complication. And traditional watches were mostly limited by what mechanical movements could do. Digital watches pushed it a little bit further, but most of the time replicated what mechanical watches are able to do. And not until the smartwatch era are we really able to have a lot of complications like, wow, you could really never ever do that with a mechanical watch. And here, all this stuff you couldn't do without a connected watch. So the particular way that I arrange this dial is with a series of complications. I don't actually remember what all of them are. I believe right here is air quality. I'm not even sure necessarily how to read air quality, but if I was concerned about that, I'd know. I just like the colors. Then we have here the temperature. We have here for the activity bars. Here we have sunrise, sunset. Inside we have a representation of the Earth based upon where I am, and you can see the light and the dark. Here is a small, basically planetarium, where you have the sun in the center, and you can look at a few of the planets and see their position in relation to one another. Here is wind speed. There you would have weather conditions, and the amount of things that you can customize is really staggering. There's just so much cool stuff. You can put the weather again there, UV index, and there's the solar system again there. You could have this type of look where you can see the track of the sun in the day, and whether it's light or dark. And so I really think they did an awesome job here, not only arranging the complications that they already had built into the Apple Watch, but also creating a lot more of them. So I'm going to sort of put it back to what I had there, and we'll go over to this element here, and you can see the same thing. Walkie-talkie, that's an interesting function. And so I think they did a really fantastic job of understanding something that I believe was missing. And that is not just what a watch can do or watch dial can do, but the way the information is arranged. There's no limitation to the number of things you could have in a smartwatch or a smartphone for that matter. There's just tons and tons and tons of various types of information. None of it matters though, unless, there's the moon phase, I think that's pretty cool. None of it matters unless it's accessible. So this dial, being designed with the idea that the information needs to be accessible and legible, is important, because before that, it was like, well, the watch can technically do it. It doesn't matter if the watch can give you, the location of the planets. What's important is it accessible? Is it something that you can see easily? And so I really think the Infograph is a fantastic looking dial for the Apple Watch. Of course, they could do more with it. Of course, I could say that I want more customization, more color options, more design options, and I believe that will come. But I really have very good things to say about this dial. Let's put the watch on, because I actually haven't worn it. You can see what it's like on my wrist size, given the fact that this is a slightly bigger one than the previous versions of the Apple Watch, which I've also reviewed. So there you go. That's 44 millimeters wide, or I'm sorry, 44 millimeters tall. Pretty much every other watch is wide, so Apple's the one that decides to use the numbers a little bit different. Their actual system of using numbers makes sense because the width matters less than the length, right? Because you would measure your wrist and you would know, okay, that doesn't fit. Whereas width, well, there's a lot more space on the wrist. So Apple is actually correct in making sure that when they mention the number, it is the length of the watch as opposed to the width. But most of the watch industry uses the width, so it's easy to get confused. So there again, that is the Apple Watch Series 4 with the beautiful infograph dial that offers lots of fun, lots of functionality, and it's really cool because it's the type of complications that I think people have been wanting for years to see in an attractive way right on the wrist, and Apple has finally done that, and I'm sure they'll take it further. You can see more about the Apple Watch Series 4 on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.